My ex and I have a young teen daughter, Nicole. Nicole has several medical conditions that require a lot of attention. She will need some in-home assistance for the rest of her life. While we have an aide to help a couple of days a week, it is still challenging. The outcome of Nicole's condition became apparent when she was a toddler. At that point, my ex and I agreed we wouldn't have more kids because it wouldn't be fair to anyone. There'd be no way we could focus attention on 2 kids. Someone would lose out in this situation. We divorced when Nicole was 5. We originally had 50-50 custody. 3 years later, my ex remarried. His new wife, Callie, is nice. My ex did say that she didn't understand the severity of Nicole's condition. I figured there was a learning curve. Eventually, Callie basically said she wanted to be hands-off, which I respected, though I wondered how it'd work, considering Nicole lives with them half the time. Last year, my ex and Callie had a baby. I was a little surprised given that my ex was always firm on not having more kids, but I figured it wasn't my business. He began complaining that juggling Nicole and the baby was a lot of work. I sympathized but didn't know what else to say. Recently, the venting got worse. He said Callie yelled at him for taking Nicole to her physical therapy appointment instead of helping her with the baby. He brought up potentially having Nicole stay with me more. I wasn't entirely shocked, but it annoyed me. I said Nicole was his daughter. He can't just abandon that responsibility. He asked what he was supposed to do about the baby. I said, maybe you should have thought of that before you procreated. I mean, we discussed this 10 years ago as to why it'd be hard to juggle 2 kids. Why did you think having another would be a good idea? He got quiet and said Callie wanted a baby. I said that wasn't enough of a reason and maybe you should have thought harder before bringing more life into this world. The conversation ended with me saying I'd call my lawyer and we could arrange for him to have less custody, as I'd rather my daughter be adequately cared for than be viewed as a burden. Callie called me that night, very upset that I'd made my ex cry and that I said her baby shouldn't exist. I told her that's not what I said completely, more that they didn't think it through. She called me a jerk. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I assume Callie had a dream of Nicole magically disappearing to your place so she and her ex can have their happy new trio. You're correct to hold him accountable, especially if Nicole has the mental capacity to know she's being shut out. Yeah, it feels like a long con to use the baby as an excuse to push Nicole out. It seems like it's working too, which is sad. I hope OP has a good lawyer who can make sure her ex pays as much as he can afford for respite care. What, nothing left to cover a sitter date for night with Callie? Too bad, so sad. OP, your ex found out. Make sure any support is adjusted as well. If he puts in less effort, he must pay to compensate and push for the maximum possible. Sadly, this is not how it works. The way OP plays it, this will end with OP having full custody, she's sending her lawyer to go to court for more custody, and OP's ex ends up paying slightly bigger child support and doing nothing more. If OP had more sense, she would block the new wife's number and discuss responsibilities with the child's parent. If she has any sense, she will forego the emotional responses. These will not help the kid. That will only help her ex get out without feeling guilty because OP is taking the kid from him and stealing his chance to have a relationship with his kid. The reasonable reaction would have been, yeah, it's hard for us all, please vent somewhere else. Agreed. OP, you are the idiot. Functionally, your ex asked you to take your daughter for more time because he has a new baby, and it's stressful. That's it. That's the whole thing. The rest is a mélange of everyone's emotions surrounding this transition. You all have been divorced for years. Your ex is absolutely entitled to have another child with his wife. He needed help, but he wasn't angry. He just seems overwhelmed in your telling of events. For the time being, he just needs to take y'all's daughter more until the baby isn't a baby. Please don't alienate your daughter because that's what Callie wants. My family has a tradition dating back 6 generations in which the firstborn son is named William. My father and I use our middle names to avoid confusion, while my grandfather is Bill. It's not that I don't like tradition, it's just that my middle name, James, is the name I've always been known as, and I always hated being made fun of when I was younger, especially at school when a new teacher would inevitably call out my actual first name when taking the register, and all of the other kids would laugh at me for trying to explain that I didn't want to be called that. Now I'm an adult, I want to know if I wanted to, I could legally change my name by deed poll, but I guess I've just gotten used to the inconvenience, and at this stage of my life, it's more of a conversation starter if anything else. I also understand that of all the things to be made fun of when younger, it's pretty low down on the list. and some people would just say I'm being petty. Anyway, I've recently become a father to a beautiful baby boy, and to my family's horror, we've named him Ezra, which both my partner and I love. We've still given him the middle name William, but this is not good enough for my family, who have practically not acknowledged my son's name at all. He's a few months old now, and whenever they interact with him, he's referred to as Junior or the child. All I want for Ezra is for him to feel like he's his own person when he grows up, not to feel like there is some kind of burden on him to live up to any expectations we might have for him, like I suppose I've always felt somewhat, and to feel comfortable knowing that any decisions he makes, his mom and I will always support him. That is what makes me stand by our decision, but I can't help but feel guilt for breaking the tradition and that there is now a slight rift between me and my family, especially my dad. Am I the idiot for not naming my son William? Not the idiot. You and your partner can name your children whatever you like. You did not start this tradition and had no say in it, so your family has no say in whether you'd like it going or not. I love that you kept the tradition by giving William as a middle name. That should be plenty enough. Please don't feel like the idiot for naming your child. Not to mention that the mother should get a say too. What if she had her own family traditions? Why is it OP's family that supposedly gets a say? I'm not a fan of naming kids after other people in general, but seriously, one in every generation? Does it include cousins too? How confusing it must be to have so many Williams. He's referred to as Junior or the child. I suggest you do the same with them. Always refer to them as the senior or the mother, etc. See how long it takes them to catch on. Tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. It's not up to anyone else but you and your partner. Your family refusing to call Ezra by his name is extremely disrespectful and immature. Obviously not the idiot, but I will laugh if your son grows up and decides to go by William. I, 30 male, have been with my girlfriend Kelly, 29, for 4 years and have known her for 10. Kelly is autistic and one of her biggest problems is food. However, since getting together with me, she's opened up to a lot of new foods. For example, she wouldn't eat certain vegetables as they are, but wouldn't mind having them blended in or cut into small pieces or spirals. Now, my brother Kevin, 35, has recently proposed to his girlfriend of 3 years, Laura. He mentioned he had some news to announce and asked whether I would be okay with hosting a family dinner at my place since I love cooking. I said it wouldn't be a problem, and we've decided on a Japanese theme. Now to the issue. For the main dish, I made ramen, including the noodles and broth, from scratch. It had to be chicken as Kelly doesn't like beef or pork, and my mother also doesn't eat pork. I've added some extra veggies, zucchini, carrots, sweet corn and some others, for Kelly's portion since she isn't fond of eggs. So naturally her ramen was served without an egg, while everyone else had a standard portion, enough to fill up a grown man. I also ensured some snacks were on the table like tempura, yakitori skewers, onigiri, etc. Well, within the first half an hour of her being there, Laura kept picking on Kelly and kept saying she can't say she likes ramen because her version is not authentic. None of us are Asian or have any ties to Asia if it matters, which was upsetting to her and meant that Kelly started to eat significantly slower compared to the rest of the group. It happens when she's getting anxious. Then Laura tried to grab some of Kelly's ramen to try and prove the point, so Kelly freaked out since she doesn't like sharing food that's already on her plate. This resulted in an argument between Kelly and Laura, and Kelly began to cry due to being overwhelmed. After this, I asked my brother and Laura to leave. My parents were absolutely terrified over how Laura behaved towards Kelly and hinted that Laura should apologize. They ended up leaving, but later, I received a call from Kevin calling me an idiot for kicking them out and spoiling Laura's pregnancy reveal. He also wasn't happy about our mother scolding him over Laura's behavior. Am I the idiot for kicking my brother and his fiancée from my house? Not the idiot. How would she prove a point by grabbing Kelly's ramen? Because there wasn't an egg in it? This is all bizarre. Laura is a nut job and your brother is in for a long, hard life. Good on you and your mom for sticking up for your girlfriend. Laura ruined her own night. All she had to do was eat her food and make a stupid announcement. I hope your girlfriend is doing okay. I certainly understand sudden loss of appetite when an anxious spell occurs. Hopefully your brother and his fiancée can reflect and realise they were in the wrong here. Laura is a mean girl. Not gonna lie, the idea of needing to gather a group and be the centre of attention for a personal announcement is pretty cringe in the first place. I don't say this often, but I feel sorry for this kid if this is how she behaves among family because of a bowl of ramen. Who knows how she'll treat her own kid? I've been dating Matt, 26, for a little over a year. We knew each other 2 years prior to dating and we got along really well. I have a son, toddler, and a daughter, preschooler, who we met multiple times when I was with the friend group. Here's the thing though, we just got a place together, but the place needed work before we could move in. So we agreed with the landlord that we would help fix it up with him, landlord, to get half off the first month's rent. He agreed. So for a month we were there every day cleaning this place up, and I started noticing some red flags like a quick temper, but I literally just assumed it was because the AC wasn't working and it was like a sauna in the house. So he was pouring sweat and getting angry. But again, I thought it was because he was hot, because as soon as he cooled off he was fine again. But we finished the house, the AC was working again, so it was no longer hot. We moved in yesterday morning. He was barking orders all day to me, like telling me where to put things, or if I put something somewhere he didn't like, he was all, "Why would you put that there?" and literally looked at me like I was stupid with the "Are you serious?" look. But I let it slide because I really didn't know what else to do, I guess. Or every 15 minutes he asked me to go with him to Walmart because he wanted to blow a bunch of money on stuff to make the place feel like home. We hadn't even unpacked half of our stuff either. Got irritated when I said I didn't think we should spend more money right now. But anyway, I go and pick up my kids and stuff for dinner. I grabbed a family pack of kielbasa, the one that has 3.5 strips and rice. Well, I only cut up 2 of the kielbasa because that's literally plenty. He comes over and says, "Why aren't you making all of it?" So I told him I didn't need to make all of it and that this would feed all of us and still be enough for leftovers. Then I commented about how I would use the rest of the kielbasa that I wasn't cooking to feed my kids and myself the next day because I like kielbasa sandwiches. He blew up. Thankfully, the kids weren't inside to hear it. My mom came over and brought them to the park across the street. He told me there was no way it would feed all of us and that I was selfish for only thinking about what I would eat tomorrow instead of worrying about feeding us all tonight. He walked out and slammed the door after I said, "Are you really blowing up on me about food right now?" I watched him drive off. I immediately started taking my and the kids' stuff out to the car and had my mom leave with my kids. I got everything loaded up before he returns. Most of my stuff is still in storage. Well, he texted me about 25 minutes after I left saying, "Did you really leave? Please come back and talk to me. I'm sorry. I'm having such a bad day and I'm just exhausted from working and doing the repairs here. You shouldn't have left over this," etc., etc. So, am I the idiot for leaving the same day I moved in with my boyfriend? Edit, I genuinely don't have the energy to argue with salty damn toxic masculinity men. I work full time. I'm not leeching Matt's money. I bought the food with my money. Half of my money went into getting us in the house. I work full time at a bank. He had work the next day, but I did not. Therefore, he wouldn't have been home to eat the leftover kielbasa with me and my kids, and therefore no, I didn't include him in it. Not the idiot. Leaving was the right decision. He thought he had you in a position where you wouldn't leave. Started being a total moron once you agreed to live together and started working on the apartment. It would have only gotten worse over time. You did what is best for you and your kids. It was the audacity to say, "You shouldn't leave over this," when he literally left over it. Rules for thee, not for me. That dude's a red flag and you did the right thing. I'm so glad you moved you and your children out. Please don't go back to him, ever, no matter what he says. You got a dose of reality and made the very best decision for you and your kids. Well done, OP. Please tell me you took the kielbasa with you. My husband, 45, and I, 25, have been together for 4 years and I thought he would be my last. We have 2 kids together with another on the way. For a bit of backstory on why I went through his phone. In our first year together, he started getting conservative over his phone. My cousin's husband caught him flirting with a cashier while I was pregnant with our first. This caused a lot of trust issues, and as the years went by, I was no longer allowed to touch his phone in any way. I've caught him talking to many other women on Facebook, but he always makes sure to delete conversations, so what I would read wasn't anything inappropriate until I checked out his Google chats, as it was an app he had previously downloaded. Luckily, phones saved login info and I got in. He told other women he loved them, sent them pictures, and told them how much he wanted to meet them. He attempted to meet with many of these women, but I never saw where they agreed to meet up, so I'm not sure if he's fully done the deed. I'm 25 weeks pregnant right now and my hormones are going crazy. It's hard to keep from fighting, but I feel as if I've been crushed. He's upset that I keep bringing these issues up, But how do you just get over it when it's only been 3 days since I found everything and I'm still finding more? It's all in the uninstalled apps. I want to leave him, but my oldest kid from a previous relationship, who's a young grammar schooler, calls him dad, and the kids would have a hard time adjusting. I feel like our family has been destroyed and I really don't know what to do. He keeps telling me he didn't cheat because he never met any of them, but I still feel like what he was doing was cheating. Not the idiot. Are you serious, girl? He's emotionally cheating, sending pics and making plans to meet up with other women while you're pregnant with his child. And he has the nerve to say he didn't cheat because he didn't meet them. That's a load of crap. He's betraying your trust and disrespecting your relationship. Don't let him gaslight you into thinking it's not a big deal. Your well-being and the well-being of your kids should come first. Get out of there and find someone who deserves you. I stopped reading it. I'm 25 and have our third kid on the way with a 45-year-old. Lady, what on God's green earth are you doing with this man? You were 21 when you started dating a 41-year-old. 3 kids in 4 years, and you already have a young grammar schooler? This dude has been treating you like crap pretty much your entire relationship. He's keeping you knocked up and dependent so he can have his cake and eat it too. You've pretty much been pregnant or postpartum your entire relationship. I cut us some slack as he most likely used his wealth, knowledge and power to manipulate her. But still. Darling, take a deep breath and read this story to yourself as if reading it for the first time. This is insane. Yes, he is cheating. What are you doing with him? No matter what you do, his behavior will not change. Ultimately, the kids will be fine. Make some sensible plans and get rid of him. Yes, the kids will have difficulty adjusting, but do you want to raise them with him as their role model and you as their model of accepting it? I know it's hard, but please leave him.